Hey there, Food Dog family. I'm coming at you with a very frequently requested video about the practice of time tracking. Now, I have been studying time management, productivity, efficiency, and getting stuff done. I've been studying that topic for years, for decades, really. And I have never found a tool, strategy, concept that is more profoundly life changing than this concept of time tracking. And I hope you will consider following the steps that I'm going to share in this video and track your time. In fact, at Food Dog, we feel that this strategy is so profoundly life changing that there was a while when we were requiring Mastery and Legacy members to do this practice as soon as they joined those levels. We've kind of got away from that a little bit, although I think maybe we should consider doing it again, even just for a challenge. It's something that I do regularly. I try to do it maybe every 6 months. If life isn't quite as busy with different things, I even do it a little more frequently than that. But I do it at least every 6 months. And every single time I get amazing, magical insights from it. It truly does change my life. So the first time I had heard of time tracking, I was reading a book. It talked about time tracking, and I thought, okay, time tracking sounds interesting. I'm pretty sure I know what my time is like. I don't need to track my time. So I kind of ignored it. And then I read it again in another book about the importance of time tracking. And I thought, man, who are these people who don't know how they spend their time? I'm already aware of how I spend my time. I ignored it again and again and again. And for years, I resisted doing time tracking. And then finally, one day, I was like, you know what? I keep reading about it. Why don't I just try it and see what happens? And so I tried it, and I tried it for a week. And within that week, it made such a profound change for me that I became such an advocate for it. And now that's why I'm here so enthusiastically sharing this video with you. At the time, I was a copywriter and a consultant, which means I was really trading my time for dollars. And so someone would hire me to deliver, some kind of like marketing strategy or copy, and I would work on it and then invoice them, and then they would pay me. And so really, it took this much time to get the chunk of work done. And if I could reduce the amount of time it would take to get the work done, I could still bill the same, but I could fit more of those chunks in my day. And that's how I would be able to make more money. And reluctantly and skeptically, I did time tracking. And instantly, like within the week of me doing it, I instantly saw opportunities to shift how I work, when I work, how I focus. And that really reduced the amount of time it took me to work on individual projects, which meant I was shipping more marketing copy out the door and billing more. Ultimately, I was able to double my income only from doing this time tracking and shifting around things I did based on the insights I learned. So I am an enthusiastic advocate for this strategy. And it's not just work related. Even if you don't bill by the hour, as I was doing, or even if you don't trade your hours for dollars, as I was doing, you will still find amazing benefits from doing this, because you'll find that when you're at work, you're more focused and you get more done, which I think we all want to do. And then because you get more done, you're able to leave work at work and then go home, and you're more focused and present at home with your family. And you'll achieve more with your family because you're more present and focused with them, instead of thinking about work or maybe trying to catch up because you didn't get it all done in the workday. So there are massive benefits for you. And if you were like me and you're trading your dollars for hours, or your hours for dollars, it's a great way to, frankly, just increase your income simply by making small shifts. And even if you don't trade your hours for dollars, you're still going to find amazing benefits and get more done in work, business, life, and in everything. So I hope I have convinced you to consider time tracking, even if you're as skeptical as I was in the early days. Let me share with you how to do time tracking. And then I'm going to share toward the end of this video some advanced steps that you might consider for the future. So how to do time tracking. First of all, just grab a piece of paper, a pad of paper, lined paper. I use these like, you get them for $1 from Staples type of thing, these kind of spiral bound notebooks. You can use a spreadsheet online, although I like to have the notebook because I write in it without having to switch on my computer. I think someone in our community has actually, or maybe even more than one person, has built a printable or downloadable document that you can use. And if I find it, I'll put it below this video. If I can't find it, if you're watching this video and you don't see one below, then maybe it doesn't exist. But if you build one and you want to contribute to the community, let us know and we'll put it below. And we may have a couple after sharing this video. People might share a couple, so you might have some to choose from. But ultimately, you just need a piece of paper, like a pad of paper. And then I just use this. I open it up, and then down the left-hand margin, I would put the times that I was awake, and then all the way through my day. You might have to need a couple of pages until I went to sleep. Now, you might only want to do your working period, which is fine, but I preferred to measure my whole day from awake to asleep because I wanted to make improvements all through my life, not just in my work. Although I did notice most measurably my work improved. So I would recommend, from the point you wake up to the point you fall asleep. And so I wake up at 5. I don't know if I did the first time I was doing this, but I've changed how I wake up. And so I wake up at 5. So you want to do every line is a 15-minute increment. So 5 to 5:15, and then 5:15 to 5:30, 5:30 to 5:45, 5:45 to 6 o'clock, right? The first 4 lines is the first hour of your day. And then, the next 4 lines are 6 to 7, basically, in 15-minute increments, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, all the way through. Don't skip time. Don't say like, well, I usually have lunch at noon, so I'm not going to write down noon. Just keep all the time in there from the moment you wake up, even if you don't get out of bed, all the way to the moment that you typically fall asleep. Write it all out. Yes, I know you're going to use a lot of lines, and I think in a 24-hour day, that's like 96 lines. You're not awake 24 hours, so even if you're doing 75, 78, 80 lines, that's okay. That is all right. So write them all in here. That's going to be like 3 or 4 pages of a day. I promise you, what you spend on $1 of this Staples notebook is going to return huge dividends. And so then here's what you do. You whatever you did in that 15 minutes, you write it in there. You just give yourself a bit of detail. Now the trick is, the challenge is to remember to write it in while you're doing it. It's less helpful to go back and try to remember later. So you may want to take your phone and set like a 15-minute timer. Every time the timer dings, you just write in what you did. That's one helpful practice. I know that might sound annoying and bothersome to do it through your day, but I promise you do this for a week, you're going to get some profound lessons, and you don't have to run your 15-second or your 15-minute timer for the rest of your life, just for the period of time that you're doing this time challenge. So you're going to write the time and then what you did in that 15-minute section. So if you woke up at 5, like I did, but you laid in bed for 15 minutes, then you're like laid in bed, and snoozed, or laid in bed and scrolled through social media. And then, if you later on in your day, like 9 o'clock, you spent most of the time doing emails, like 9 a.m., answered emails, and so on. So you just kind of do that through your day. And then I would do that for at least a week. I found the best insight is usually in 2 weeks, because often there's like a day or 2 anomaly in the week and it kind of messes things up. So do at least a week, but aim to do a 2-week period. And then at the end of the day, and then as you're doing this, you'll notice some improvements, and definitely at the end of the week or the 2 weeks, however long you're focused on it, then you go back and you look at how you spent your time. And what do you notice? You're going to notice all kinds of things. You're going to notice things like patterns and habits. Like, for example, just to draw on some examples that I see typically for people who do this. You might wake up at a certain time, but then just scroll through social media, and you think you're only doing it for a few seconds, but it actually ends up being half an hour, and you don't even realize that half an hour just goes by really fast when you're scrolling through Instagram. But half an hour can go by in the blink of an eye. Or in the evening, you think you're just going to flake out in front of the TV for a few minutes after the kids are in bed, and you end up watching a 2-hour movie or something like that. You're also going to notice things like you sit down to do something, but then you're interrupted. You're off onto something else. You never actually get back to the thing that you did. Or it takes you a while to get back to the thing you did. Or you're working on one thing, and then for a few minutes, you decide to, you know what, I'm just going to really quick see what is happening on Facebook. And then you're on Facebook for an hour. So you're going to notice a lot of things like that. One of the big things I noticed is when I was most productive. You see, I was never really a morning person for most of the early part of my life. And so I assumed that my most productive period was in the afternoon and the evening. But once I did this time tracking, I found that I was actually more productive and focused from about 8 o'clock in the morning to 11, and then a little bit right after lunch, and then really productive in the evening. And I knew I kind of dipped a bit in the afternoon. Knowing that, then I rearranged my schedule, so I did most of my most important, most productive, most profitable work in the morning, and scheduled my meetings for the afternoon when I wasn't as creative and kind of like, juicy in my brain. So there are all kinds of ways that you can take what you assess and shift your schedule around. One of the biggest lessons I learn, and so do other people every time people do this, is the invisible stuff that they don't realize that are wasting their day. So even if you are like me and you are already pretty productive and pretty efficient, you're going to find, in 15 minutes, I meant to do this, and I ended up doing something else. You see it especially when you're switching from one task to another, or you're waiting for a meeting to start. It's like, let's say you got a meeting at 11 o'clock in the morning. At 10:30, you're like, I got a meeting in half an hour. I can't possibly do any, project. And you end up just, scrolling on social media or just kind of doing some meaningless busy work when you in fact had a whole half hour to do something. So you're going to find in this time tracking practice, there are so many hidden and invisible opportunities to do more work. And what I find at the end of the week or 2 weeks that I do this, I find where I am most productive and least productive. I find where I can very often lose focus, and then it's a reminder for me to make sure I gain focus. And then I try to match my work to where where my rhythms in the day are. So you're going to find a whole bunch of insight just by doing this. And then when you're done and you assess it, make some changes in your life and live your life for another few months, and then run this challenge again and time track for a week or two and see what's changed. You're going to notice some improvements. You're going to notice some new opportunities that you can take. And it all comes down to just keep it really simple. Write out, like in 15-minute increments your day, write out what you do, and just be as accurate as possible and honest too. And that's the key here. Because you can say, I read my emails. But if you read your emails for 5 of the minutes and then, chatted with someone for the other 10, don't just read read emails. It's like read emails for 5 minutes and chatted with someone for 10 minutes. So account for the whole 15 minutes of the time, and that is going to give you some magical insight. All right. Now I want to share some ways that you can take this practice to the next level to help you. Maybe you've done it once and you want to make it even better. Maybe you want to do it the first time, but just kind of get even more out of it. Here are some ways that you can get this practice to the next level. So one thing that I like to do is when I write out everything I do, I try to go back periodically. I do it actually throughout the day, is I'll take a red, yellow, and green highlighter and I will highlight how I was during that time. So for example, like how productive I was during that time. So if I read emails, you know, at 9 o'clock in the morning, if it was really focused, if I did a really good job of reading all the emails I needed to read, I would give myself I would highlight that line in green. If I was like, you know, I got some work done, I wasn't like distracted, but I could have done better, then I'll do a yellow. I'll do a yellow line. And then if I was like totally distracted, you know, I read one email and then I was off doing something else, red. And so then that color coding is also really helpful too, because you're going to come in here and then you're going to see at a glance, you're like, oh, you know what? I see that every time I open my email inbox, I instantly go red. Well, what can I do about that? Or every time I switch from a Zoom to do something else, there's 15 minutes where I'm red. Probably because you got higher energy on your Zoom meeting, and then it's time for you to switch something else, and you just need to come down a little bit from your Zoom meeting. And so you just, you know, maybe scroll on Instagram. And so that's 15 minutes that you could have done something else. So you're just kind of wasting it. That should be a red. And you're going to notice where the greens are, where the reds are. And that's how I discovered, okay, my most productive time is like 8 in the morning to like 10 or 11 in the morning. So how can I do that? How can I shape my day to make sure I'm stacking the most important work for the morning? So that's one thing. Here's another way that you can take your time tracking to the next level if you want, is in the one column, do your time. And then this part here, instead of writing the whole thing in here, do another small column about 1/3 of the way and write your intention and then write what you do. And so at 10 o'clock in the morning, your reminder beeps on your phone. You fill in whatever you did from 9:45 to 10. Then at 10 in the morning, you're like, okay, my intention for this next 15 minutes is to return emails. And then you return your emails. And then at 10:15, when you go to write down here, you're like, okay, was I as focused as my intention was? So you're kind of filling out the time, but then you're filling out an intention just ahead of what you do through the day. So you're not really planning your day like a day or two in advance. You're just saying like, okay, in the next 15 minutes or the next half an hour, I'm going to be doing this thing. And then you assess yourself. How was I? Did I actually do that? And then you can use green, yellow, and red to help you say, yeah, I was right on track with my intention, or I was off track with my intention. Another thing you can do is, I wrote this down here because I didn't want to forget. Another thing you can do is accountability, where you do your time tracking for a week and then you share it with someone else. Maybe you share each day with them, or you even just kind of give a summary at the end of the day about how your time tracking was. One of the time tracking ones I actually did it online as an online challenge with people. And I just took a picture every day, a photo of my color-coded time tracker in the day. And I posted it online, which means sometimes people saw lots of green and a little bit of yellow, and sometimes they saw some green and lots of red. And my just putting it out there helped me stay even more focused. And I wanted to do more things that were focused and green so that when I put it out there, I could be proud of my productivity. So some level of accountability, whether it's like sharing socially, sharing inside Foo Dog World, or maybe connecting one-on-one with an accountability partner. This is a great way that you can keep your level of focus and productivity really high using this. And then the last way that you can take this to the next level is just by making sure you do it frequently. Like, there's no reason why you couldn't do it every single day for the rest of your life, because just the practice of doing it helps keep you focused and productive. Now, realistically, that may not be practical to do, and I know even I can't do that. I can do it when I'm at home, when I work from home, and I'm able to focus. But there are times when I'm traveling and it's just hard to, like, every 15 minutes on the plane, I take out, just still sat on the plane, right? Not as practical when you're traveling or that kind of thing. But when I'm at home, there's no reason why I couldn't do it every day. Although in general, I like to do it about every 6 months. You could probably do it even every quarter. I find every time I do it, I get a ton of value from it. So as often as you consider doing it, I promise you will find amazing value, amazing tweaks that will make you more productive and more focused at work and at home. So just figure out how often you want to do it. And if you want to do it every day, that's awesome. More power to you. If you want to do it quarterly or about every 6 months, which is what I do, I think that is great too. All right, that is the time tracking process. It is simple. Don't make it complicated. Make it fun. For a period of time, it will be kind of annoying to have to write things in. You're going to forget sometimes. You're going to hate that this thing goes off every 15 minutes. But I promise, if you can tolerate it for like 7 days, like for 1 week, or even better yet, for 14 days, for 2 weeks, you will get so much insight. It will be life-changing for you as it was for me. So do me a favor, try it. And then post in the discussion group that you tried it and let us know how it went, what insights you got from it. And if you're even bold enough, take some photos of your time tracking pages day by day and share them in the discussion group for accountability and for everyone else to cheer you on. All right, good luck. I can't wait to see your time tracking results.